My dear readers, let us turn to Russia, that lumbering colossus that sprawls itself across the Eurasian landmass, a vast expanse punctuated by just two cities of consequence. Moscow, its political heartbeat, and St. Petersburg, its cultural soul. The country prides itself on its size and military arsenal, parading its nuclear weapons like a teenager brandishing a switchblade. Yet the invasion of Ukraine in 2022 stripped away the veneer, revealing a military operation that was not the juggernaut we were led to believe, but a paper tiger as disorganized and ineffective as it was cruel. This paradox is no minor quirk, but a revelation of a profound existential angst. Russia, my friends, is an empire with the personality of an insecure bully. It compensates for what it knows it lacks, and what it lacks is laid bare by the utter inadequacy of its urban civilization. Two cities that barely approximate Western standards, standing like lone beacons in a dark, undeveloped hinterland. This phenomenon, you see, is no trivial matter to be dismissed with a wave of the hand. It affects not merely Russia's internal psychology, but also bleeds into its external postures and actions. The country's psyche is like that of a man who dons a coat of armor but knows he wears no undergarments beneath. Vulnerable, exposed. It is this existential vulnerability that turns Russia into an international menace, swinging its military might around like a mace in a crowded room. And what of Vladimir Putin, the erstwhile KGB operative turned autocrat? Let's not kid ourselves. He may be the face of Russian aggression, but he's not its genesis. Men like Putin are dime a dozen in the annals of history, but what sustains them is the soil from which they spring. He is but a manifestation of a much deeper malaise, an expression of Russia's collective psyche. Remove him, and the problem remains: the national inferiority complex, the compensatory aggression, the moral rot. Now, one may argue surely that Russia's self-destructive tendencies would temper once the country modernizes, democratizes, or, God forbid, liberalizes. This is wishful thinking, for Russia's existential crisis is not just a matter of its economic backwardness or its lack of democracy. It's a matter of its soul, a corrosion that has set in deep within its bones. A nation that has to constantly prove its worth through intimidation and invasion is a nation that has lost its moral compass. So let us not mince words. The problem isn't just Putin, it's Russia. A Russia that, despite its vast resources and its intellectual heritage, squanders its potential in a Sisyphean cycle of aggression and self-sabotage. Until the nation confronts the existential void that lies at its core, it will continue to be a danger to its neighbors and, ultimately, to itself. The invasion of Ukraine wasn't an exception. It was an expression of a pathology that is deeply embedded in the Russian psyche. It's a pathology that makes Russia not a reliable partner, not a misunderstood giant, but an unhinged rogue state. So as we sift through the rhetoric, the disinformation, the saber-rattling, and the geopolitical maneuvering, let's not forget this essential truth. Russia's erratic behavior on the world stage is not just a product of its leadership or its political system. It is a reflection of an existential crisis, one that makes Russia not just a national actor but a global risk. This is the lens through which we must view its actions, a lens that brings into focus not just the strategies of the Kremlin, but the deeply flawed and precarious nature of Russia itself.